Hey, what is up mortals? It is Mr. Zombie here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 8 of What If Izuku Had a Villain Quirk. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So, we begin. A letter was laid on the table of a shabby looking apartment. The sender was none other than Toshinori Yagi, aka All Might. The recipient of the letter read the letter's contents in silent contemplation. The lines that attracted his attention were as followed. I am a teacher myself now, Sensei, and I can no longer continue my duties as the symbol of peace at the rate I once did. I believe it is time that I pass on my quirk. I have thoroughly thought it through and have determined the perfect successor not one for all. He is in his last year of UA and has proven himself to be strong of mind, body, will, and heart. He has a dream to be a savior of millions. A mindset that would be priceless for a new symbol of peace. I hope that you will assist me as you have in the past and provide to me your wisdom. I will keep you updated on how things progress. I wish you well, Sensei. A small man sat before the table, smiling as he took a bite of the taiyaki in his hand. So, Toshinori believes he has found a successor to his quirk. Marvelous. The tone of the voice gave way to the obvious happiness and satisfaction the teacher felt for his pupil. Meanwhile at UA Academy, a meeting was going on between the staff and Detective Tsukashi. The man was briefing the heroes on what little his department had discovered about the so-called League of Villains, before admitting they couldn't find a speck of information about their leader, Tomura Shigaraki, or his teleporting associate Kurogiri. The heroes began discussing their lack of intel amongst themselves until Nezu noticed All Might's inner thoughts affecting his body language.
You seem troubled, All Might. Is there something you wish to disclose to us?
The skeletal man nodded gracefully as he began to discuss the attack on how stupidly bold it was. Tomura was far too confident and wouldn't stop monologuing about his great Nomu's many quirks, and when his plan failed, he seemed to be ready to throw a tantrum. He finished by explaining that the man was more of a man-child, a spoiled adult with the mind of a young brat. The detective began to explain the most worrisome part of the investigation. We arrested 72 villains, each one of them being petty thugs or criminals. It's nothing impressive. What's shocking is how they rallied behind the plans of such a mentally unstable man. He gazed into the eyes of the heroes. It shows that with the rise of more and more heroes, criminals are beginning to get desperate. It would be why they were so quick to back such a simple-minded villain. The staff piped up in agreement before Midnight asked how exactly they were supposed to stop all of it. The detective attempted to calm their worries as he explained they were the reason the attack was stopped, and that they would expand their search to find the perpetrators who attacked UA. Nezu began thinking aloud, suggesting that with so many students being in their midst, there was a small possibility of a spy being amongst them. At the Midoriya household, an anxious Izuku was still at home from the break the UA had administered to his students after the USJ attack. He was watching an old video of one of his hero course teacher's rescues, sitting in a fetal position upon his chair. The boy was sitting at his desk remembering the events of that day and how he and his classmates had only slowed down 13 in Aizawa. He pulled out a notebook and began sketching something. The book was filled with potential gadgets for him to use, and new ideas for techniques to pair with his quirk. I have improved to where I'm no longer terrified of my quirk, but I still hold a great amount of fear, and that makes me hesitate when I fight. The boy thought to himself, reminiscing about the moment where All Might told him how his quirk was his own. He believed in me. The same with Midnight. I can't let them down. I'll become the best hero I can be. A knock came from the door as Inko Midoriya gently opened the door to her son's room.
Izuku, sweetie, it's lunchtime. If you stay here much longer, your food's gonna get cold.
The petite woman gave the boy a warm smile as he responded by saying that he'd be down in a minute. He arrived to the wonderful scent of his mother's cooking, with his mother saying he needed food to keep his mind fueled and sharp. Eventually, school had finally started back up at UA, and Class 1A was still buzzing from the attack, in both connotations of the word. Kirishima mentioned how they would have been totally screwed if the teachers hadn't showed up, causing a chain reaction that resulted in Mineta screaming about how he would have pissed his pants. Bakugo screamed for everyone to shut up, which scared Midoriya, who received a reassuring glance from Momo and a look from Todoroki. A strict voice echoed from its source of Ida walking in a very strict position as he called that homeroom would be starting soon. The students pondered who would be teaching their class since Mr. Aizawa was still recovering in the hospital, only to be shocked as said man opened the door to greet his class. "Mr. Aizawa, I'm glad you are okay."
You call that okay?
The man walked up to his normal place in front of the classroom, saying his well-being was irrelevant, and what was more important was that their fight wasn't over yet. The whole class stiffened until the words that left his mouth caused them to shift into a more enthusiastic attitude. "The UA Sports Festival is coming up." That initial enthusiasm was quickly demolished as the class began pointing out the danger of having such a big event so soon after the attack. "Yeah, apparently the administration believes that the festival is a good way to show that the threat has been handled, and our school is safer than ever." The man's tone held a slight hint of exasperation. "Plus, security is going to be beefed up a bunch compared to past years. This event is a huge opportunity for all students of UA, and it's not something we can cancel because of a few villains." Minoru's fears of the villains made him question the event, causing him to be scrutinized by both Momo and Izuku. Aizawa reminded them that the Sports Festival of UA had become the biggest event of the year ever since Quirks had completely taken over society. Yaoyorozu pointed out that the festival was the spot where young students got scattered to intern at popular hero agencies, granting them very valuable skills and experience that would help open the path to becoming a pro hero to them. With a warning against them all slacking with such a grand happening, he dismissed them. The class was once more filled with ecstatic joy as they began discussing how big they could make it in the festival. Midoriya was discussing how hyped everyone was, being met by Todoroki, who quietly stated that he was surprised the juniper-haired boy wasn't more excited. Although it was impossible to see from the naked, a microscopic quirk of his lips appeared. Time spent around his two classmates clearly beginning to affect him positively. A loud cry came from their brunette classmate who had taken on a very scary pose, encouraging them to shout with determination. Needless to say, the three students quickly yet subtly extracted themselves from that situation. They walked the halls, conversing amongst themselves until a particular topic came along.
"So, Todoroki-san, why do you want to be a hero?"
The Raven-Neck girl asked their dual-colored acquaintance. The words seemed to be met by a stiffening of his joints, and a sudden freezing of movement. Silence reigned in for several seconds. I wanted to prove someone else wrong, and to make them realize something." That was all they managed to squeeze out of the boy before a familiar voice, at least to Izuku, echoed from behind them.
"Oi, Zuku!"
The boy turned to see the R18 hero standing in the hallway with their lunch.
"I'm off to lunch. You want to come?"
After looking at the two students accompanying them and receiving two nods, a more reluctant one from Shoto, he went to spend time with his tutor. The Hero Legacy student eyed his fellow pupil as he walked away with the hero. Outrageous thoughts began filling his head. At the teacher's lounge, Namori threw herself onto a couch and promptly cleared her throat.
"I'm gonna cut to the chase, kid. With the sports festival so close, you're gonna have to be working double time."
She eyed him as he pulled a can of soda from her lunch and tossed it to him.
"Your lessons with me are back on, kid. This sports festival is gonna be big for you, and I'm gonna make sure that you're damn well ready for it."
A grimace came upon the teen's face, happy to be training with Kayama again, and dreading the torture he was about to endure. The woman began discussing the tournament with her protege and pointed out how many opportunities he would have to sell himself as a good future hero. She face-salted as she was responded to by an "I guess" from her student. That's when Izuku began to mutter to himself as he stated his worries and solved them in a repetitive cycle, receiving a punch to the head from Midnight.
"Jeez, kid, you gotta learn to shut up. Your word vomiting gets too damn annoying, you know?"
She sighed before straightening up and pulling the boy into a side hug.
"Look, you have the potential to go far, Izuku. You have everything you need inside of you, and I'm gonna help you realize that."
The hero sent him on his way before collapsing onto the couch, silently cursing and thanking Toshinori for introducing her to the adolescent. The boy went back to his class, not expecting to open the door when the bell rang to see an ocean of students outside of the door. Prompting questioning from his classmates about their reason for being here, until an aggressive voice called from behind him. "Isn't it obvious? They're scoping out the competition.
They want to know what they're up against. The ashen blonde crept up to the large group and sneered at them. Well, you got a good look, so get out of the way, you shitty extras. A voice retorted from the crowd, calling out that he didn't expect to find such an asshole in the hero course. The owner of the voice stepped forward as the majority of the class began motioning for the boy to run for his life. Wow, I didn't expect to find such an egomaniac in a course for heroes. A course I desired to be in. Unfortunately, the first time around, I was unsuccessful in entering the hero course. But it may not stay that way. A steely glint entered his eyes. If I can prove myself to be worthy of being in this class, I can get put into this course, meaning room would have to be made for me by kicking one of you out. I hope you understand that by this, I am declaring war on all of you. A sheer aloofness of the boy shocked both Yamamoto and Izuku into complete silence at his declaration, until a screaming voice called them out. It was Tetsu, a student from Class 1B who had gone to see the class that had faced off real villains, and loved to tell the tale, only to insult them for being such brats. A collective thought of everyone hates our class now ran through the heads of most of 1A. Kirishima attempted to stop Bakugo, who was now exiting the classroom, saying that he would fix all of this since they were all hating on his class thanks to him. The teen simply asked why he should when he's gonna have to beat them all in the festival anyway, before stalking off. The class couldn't exactly argue with his logic, but definitely disapproved of his method of saying such things. Midoriya quietly gained a look of determination, seeing Bakugo declare such a statement and remembering his promise of never losing to Izuku again. The jungle-haired boy knew that he had a lot of work ahead of him, and welcomed it. Across the city, the students of 1A had begun to train fiercely, especially Izuku as he had proved his skills from his old teacher. Each of the 20 did their best. Maybe not in Minetta's case, but the others did. The training made time pass by in quick flashes, making the 2 weeks seem to pass in an instant. It was the morning of the festival, and Inku stood by her son as he got ready for it, telling him to be careful and that she would record the whole thing in HD. She wished him well as he quickly made his way to the prestigious academy that was being swamped by reporters once more. Excitement reached an all-time high as pro heroes walked amongst the crowd as well, preparing to watch the events to scout out potential candidates for an internship, with several being there purely for security. All of Class 1A was waiting in a single room, several of them very anxious. Todoroki called for Izuku, staring at him with a serious look. Midoriya, I'm sure you know that objectively I am stronger than you. A dejected look came from the boy's face as the heterochromatic one continued. However, you have Midnight in your corner. I'm unsure of what relationship you two have, but know this. You and Yaoyorozu may be the people I have led closest to me, but nevertheless, I will defeat you. Kaminari cracked a joke to try to diffuse the obvious tension in the room. Kirishima joined in as well, putting his hand on Shoto's shoulder. Izuru was shrugged off by the teen who pointed out that this was no team effort, before walking away. He was stopped as Midoriya called out to him, wondering aloud why he felt the need to point out such things before confirming how right he was. How he had so much more potential than anyone at the hero course. You know, I find myself seeing you as someone I hold closer to than others as well, Todoroki. I have noticed how strong and intelligent you are. However, I refuse to go down without a fight. I refuse to let Midnight or anyone cheering on me down. A declaration of war had broken out in 1A as well. Not just between the two students, but a silence has been declared throughout the whole class. Things just got interesting. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before this video ends. Firstly, we got a second channel called Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deeper into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series guaranteed. On top of that, we have a third channel called We the Celestials Naruto What Ifs. It's what we do on this channel already, but in the vast world and lore of Naruto. So go check it out if you're in the mood for some jutsu action. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here on We the Celestials, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the crew. The only caveat being we only accept members 16 years and up to join the crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below.
Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be. Whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits, we're always looking for more members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.